Hey, Midoriya, wake up! Oh, um, yeah, what? Sorry. We were told to get off the bus, so get up. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. Anyways, hi, it's me, Anime We, or We Anime, and I'm here to bring you part 6? Yeah, part 6 of What If Deku Had an Elemental Quirk? Um, couple things to say before we get into this. For the fans of What If Deku was Law's reincarnation, my every other Saturday series, this recent episode is taking a while to upload, and I do not know why, like at all. So it's gonna be a late into the week episode. So yeah, that's really it. Like, comment, subscribe, please. Um, what else would there be? I don't think. Oh, actually, I'm not certain I'm gonna keep that. I might change it around. Uh, actually, no, I think I'll keep it because it's quite a cool idea. Um, for the fans of What If Asta had not half and half magic, but what if Asta had light magic? I got news for you. If you watched my most recent episode part of it, you would know I was talking about doing a series about half and half magic. Which what that means is he has like a half and half grimoire, kind of like the character Mars does, right? See, if you don't know anything about Black Clover, I recommend you go watch it. But there's a character with two different magic abilities, okay? Because he has a half and half grimoire because of a backstory thing. I'm not going to spoil anything to you, but he has two magics, okay? So what I'm gonna that's what I'm working on. Well, not working on currently. I'm currently working on what if Deku had a lightning quirk in my own time. Okay, I'm working on that currently. I'm currently working on the hero suit, his hero suit, and then I get to go on to the like ultimate moves. That's what I get to go on to, which will be the funnest part because I get to think about moves. And then I work on another Deku thing, and then I'll work on the half and half magic. Okay, that's what I usually do. I do two Deku things in a row, and then Asta or another like what if, or like Naofumi or something. I work on one of those. Okay, and then I go back to two Dekus, and then one of those like other ones, and blah blah blah. Right, that's what I do. So let's get into it. But first, let me get a drink of water, and then we can get into it. The actual story is what I mean. I will also point out background noise as a issue, possibly, but it's not certain. Okay, but it is possible. So the Mantine's here and he's running his mouth up. I'm gonna hit him with the left because I got the ultimate southpaw. Home Thieves cover me, and the blows will just bounce off. If you want to know what that was from Nerd Out's Infinity War Cipher. Um, it's really good. That was I have them saved. I got like 2 verses, 3 verses. Anyways, as Izuku and well, the others would already been stuffed off. Everyone else, well, Izuku would step off. He would tempt to grab it, like tempt to, but Aizawa would say, "No, you won't need it." And then Izuku would continue to walk off out of the bus and stand with the students. And then 2 people would step out of the car, introduce themselves as Mandalay and Pixie Bob of the Wild Wild Pussycats, right? And then, so after that, they would begin to talk and look out into the distance to see the actual training camp, and they would start to talk a little bit. Not Asa, sorry. Midoriya would, in his head, would say, I got a bad feeling they're gonna drop us off of this. I got a real bad feeling about that. Hmm. Okay, just in case, I got an idea. Uh, the idea probably won't work, but we can try. Or I'm gonna get dropped off a mountain, off of a cliff. That sure will be fun, right? No, it won't. And then they would have been proceeded. Then they would be thrown off the cliff. The cliff would collapse, and they would all begin to fall. Midori would try his plan by using his air to just slowly fall him down, but then he would realize he can't use his quirk. He would look up. He would see Aizawa looking down with eyes glowing red. Izuku, before he would land, he would say, "Fair game," as he would then crash into the ground. Ow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You. They said be a hero. They said being a hero would be fun. They said. I don't think they said that you get thrown off of a cliff in one of your classes in your on your summer break. No, I don't think they did. I don't think they said that you got a teacher that erases your quirk when you're trying to save yourself from falling off a damn cliff. But no, they never said that. They never said that. He would be like crouched down, just like the dark aura around him just radiating off. Denki would say, "Hey, bro, you good?" "I am doing great, Denki. That was my real name. I I'm scared now." And then they would hear a voice yell at them, saying, "Get to the actual building before nightfall." Izuku would say, "I am gonna burn this place down." Hello, hello, hi. You're the nice one. Hello, baby. Hi, baby. Yeah. What? What do you see? Okay. Sorry, I was talking to a sheep. They're acting like they're getting chased by something. That's not a very flavorful thing of mine. But there are donkeys up there, so it will be fine. Anyways, sorry for talking about myself. Not about myself. To myself. Then they would begin to go into the forest in the direction of the camp itself. When they would find monsters made out of dirt, you know, Pixie Bob's like creations, they would they would start to engage with them, right? Uh, no named attacks. Actually, no. People do they do. They do use like I swear I remember. I swear I remember. Um, Danky using one, but I don't remember anyone else using them. I only remember Danky using their named attack. Maybe they. I think quite a bit of people use them, but I don't remember. That sucks. Anyways, they would go through Midoriya using a lot of its different elements, right? Mostly in conjunction with the others. Him not doing much because he knows we got a long way, and if I go all out in the beginning, like portions, I'm gonna be drained by the halfway point because the way his quirk works, I've already explained it multiple times, but the different elements uses different parts of his body, right? See, for fire, it uses protein, right? For well, the silver or metal attribute, it uses the actual iron in his body, aka like calcium or something. No, it uses calcium, not iron. Even though calcium and iron mostly, right? The air actually originally before he trained his quirk up, hit the air portion of this quirk. It actually used the air in his lungs, to actually use it. But as he would train with his quirk, he would begin to he would well now he uses the outside air to use his quirk, right? Well, use the air portion, right? Okay. For water, it uses the actual like water in his body. The that the same thing goes for the cold, well, the ice, right? Uh, the lightning uses the energy in his body, like his stamina, right? And so on and so forth. Gravity uses his own strength to use it, but it's not actually his own strength to like say if he was trying to pick up a car, it wouldn't feel like even though it's using his strength, he feels weak, like his arms hurt after doing it. So it basically like that, okay? Um and then the last one, I I'm not explaining that one. That one's a mystery. Okay. Am I forgetting it? The Earth one? Yeah, I'm forgetting Earth. Earth is iron and calcium as well, just because of how many minerals are in it. Like the Earth is just like a lot of rock and dirt. So the calcium and the iron makes sense. Okay, that's what it uses a lot of. The iron more slash silver, what he calls it, the Terran Earth Terra thing, uses iron and calcium both to do it. Right. And then I already explained everything else. So that would be his thought process, right? At least for the beginning portion, like the third of the in. After the halfway point, he would begin to actually start doing stuff. Just not with fire because they are in a forest, right? He would be mostly using the iron or silver to do it. Um, he would use silver slicer a lot. Not a lot, but silver slicer, or, well, it has a name that I will tell you all later. But silver slicer, oh, it could just be silver slicer, silver, uh, silver sword, yeah, silver sword. Um, what would happen, how it works is he would flatten his hand out, right, as like, it would turn into actual metal, right? Well, the consistency of metal, right? It would just elongate into a more sword, like a sword. Okay, so he would be slicing into them over and over, just because how dense they are, it does take a little bit for him to take out one. Just with this, he's mostly using this because the other things, even though this will hurt him a lot, but he's also eaten off so much iron and calcium dense foods that he can use this in a manner of longer times and many other of the like of the other techniques, other ultimate moves he has, right? He can use this one more than the others, is what I can mostly say. But he does use the others. He will switch through, right? But he would mostly use silver slicer, silver sword, mostly. Anyways, I'm gonna time skip. They make it there around actually an hour earlier. So I believe the time was in canon was like 5 something, or maybe 6 something. 5 or 6 was the time they got there in canon, I believe. So I'm gonna say like 4:57 is when they got there. So as they would exit the forest, entering the field of where the actual like building is, where they'll be staying, and where, well, yeah, you get my point. Aizawa, Mandalay, the rest of the Wild Pussycats would be there, and a little short kid with a red hat. Izuku would walk up to him and say, "Hello, who are you?" Koda would say, "Who are you? You know how dumb that sounds? Aren't you a little rude? You should probably quit being a hero because you'll never make it." And then he would reel back his fist and then whack. Oh, little shit. Ida would run up. A punch to the scrotum is unforgivable. That sounds like Aoyama. But he would say his line, a punch to the scrotum is unforgivable. I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna take him. He's not gonna see. He's gonna see the light. Mm, you might want to get that kid out of here. Mm. And then he would collapse to the ground, just, oh my god. Mm. Just, he's in pain. This world shall know pain. Shira Tensei. I don't know what I'm doing, man. I got no clue what I'm doing. I got no clue what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. But does that matter? Probably. Does it worry me that I don't know what I'm doing? No, not yet. Anyways, so, yes. Then a training montage would happen. But we would stop on the second day to not Asta, to Izuku. See, with his quirk, he can only, at this time, or with his quirk, he can use an element at a time. So they would, so the people help training, well, to help train them, would, well, for Izuku's sake, they would help him train to get two at a time, right? And eventually, by the third day, or I mean, second day, he would be able to do it. He would be able to do two at once. In one hand, it would be a ball of air, and the other, it would be a flame. Izuku would then, uh, after doing this, he would, yeah, he would, let loose his breakfast, um, right? No, he wouldn't. I'm joking. But he would, like, he's starving. He looks pale because, like I said, the flames use, well, the protein in his body and also carbs, which is food. So I'm gonna say it's like Aizawa or something or someone. I'm gonna say Aizawa. Aizawa would be there and he would hand him a like a protein bar. Uh Asta, no, Asta, good lord. It would taste like trash, but Izuku didn't care at this point. He just shoved it in his mouth. Aizawa would say, "You know what to do now. Keep doing it. Try it with different parts, different elements too. Um, yeah. If you need more, they're in the box right there." As he would just go over the box, start opening them, just ow, 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 ow. Bakugo would also be there training near him. He would turn him back, right. He would see Izuku over this, uh, over the, uh, box of food, and he would say, "Used a lot of fire, I can tell." And Kirishima, well, who would be near him? I'm just gonna say Kirishima. Why not? Kirishima would say, "Hey, uh, Baku bro, what's up with Midoriya? Mido bro. Oh, oh, he used a lot of his fire, so he's hungry. What do you mean? He used a lot of his fire. I thought he could just use it. No, no, his quirk, elemental, elemented's body, it uses the, like, carbs or protein in his body to use fire, right? And whatever else. To use the way he uses quirk, um, he needs to, well, for fire, like I said, it's carbs and protein. For the water part, it's like the actual, like, water in his body. As then you could see him just chug down water, like a bottle, like a gallon jug of water. He would be chugging it. For, well, the lightning, it's his actual, like, energy. Uh, a lot of the a lot of them use the same ones, but I like ice also uses the water in his body. Yeah, you get my point. Oh, so you're telling me he uses, like, the calcium and iron, protein, carbs, energy, strength, and whatever to use as a quirk? Yeah. Oh, okay. Did you see that he used two at the time? At a time? Yeah. It, he's always been scared to try that, just because of how his quirk is. I mean, he's tried, but it's never worked. He's tried in the past, but like I said, it never worked, and I never got why. I don't know. And so they would get back to training, and throughout the day, Izuku would keep on trying. He would use multiple at them at the same time. Like, say, he would use silver and, well, metal and lightning at the same time. Right, and then he would use, well, fire and air multiple times, water and earth, ice and air. Just a multiple of them at the same time. Gravity and silver, uh, so on and so forth. Okay, he would use multiple at the same time, and eventually they would be able to take up the break, and it would be the third day eventually, and they would train throughout the day, and then on the fourth day they would train even more, and more and more. I forget what day it was actually in canon. Wasn't it like a week in? Was it like 7 day? I don't remember. But I'm gonna say they actually got to do like a 2 week, like, training span. Okay. Just 2 weeks. And then so on the 15th day, uh it would, after the day of training, it would be time for um the scare thing that they do, right? Where they would pair up and head through the forest. But not Asta. I keep on messing it up. Midori would keep on training. Uh, Actually, outside of the main building, just like he would have his sword in hand, or a training sword, because he left his sword inside. He doesn't need it for this. But he would go through like practices, right? Just like a forward swing, a diagonal, and so on and so forth. Right? He would just be practicing movements of his blade. Well, not, well, the training blade, right? and then he would start to smell smoke. What smoke? Did we not put our food fire, like the fire out for our food? I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah, what is happening? What? I need to get up higher. He would run in, he would say, well, he wouldn't say anything, but he would run down, run up the stairs, right? He would continue on. The students still in the like building would hear someone running. Vlad would say, um, hold on, I will be right back. Keep doing your work, I'll be right back. As then he would walk through, he would go to the stairs, and he would follow. He could hear the steps continue up until they would stop at the roof, and then the door would open, and then he would also walk through the door, and he would say, Midoriya, what is wrong? It's fire. Um, fire. Blue. Fire. Okay. What the hell? It's all around. It's in a circle. What the hell's happening? What should we do? I will go tell Aizawa. You stay at the building. Yeah. What the hell? Is that a... Huh. So Vlad would run back down as Izuku would take his wooden blade. He would use the silver on it to turn it into pure metal, like a like basically using hockey on a wooden sword. Okay, it's not breaking. It would like turn silver as he would then stab it into the side of the building, and then he would no, he would jump, and as he would slide, he would bring it into the side of the wall as he would slide down, and then he would jump off about halfway, and then he would roll as he would land to absorb the impact. And then boom, he would stand up and he would run into a direction. That direction being where Koda goes, where he saw Koda go. He would follow. As he would eventually make it, the sight he would see would be highly not fun. He would see Koda being held into the air by a masked man. Izuku would work quick and effective. He would he would run quickly, using wind to boost his speed. As he got closer, his sword would begin to spark. As then he would hit the man in the like forearm. As then he would let go, like his hand going limp for a second, then you being able to get it back. Izuku would say, Koda, you good? Mr. Wait, Midoriya. Well, he would say his name. Okay. Midoriya, run. Why would I? Oh, shit. You're huge. Oh, so we got a friend here. Good. You're a UA student, aren't you? Well, no, duh, Sherlock. You're trying to attack a training camp. Never mind that. Is your name Bakugo Katsuki or Tokuyami Fumikage? No, it's not. Well, then get out of my way. Yeah, I don't feel like it. Hey, Coda, start backing up slowly. What about you? Just do it. And then Muscular would reveal himself and saying, I'm Muscular. Yeah, I can tell. No, it's my name, like villain name. That's a dumb name. You could call yourself like Muscle Fiber. That'd be like such a better name. I never really thought of that. But I feel like my name, Muscular, is quite plain and simple. See, I'm big and muscle. Yeah, I get that point. And plus, my quirk is called Muscle Fiber and whatever. But anyways, you're going down, kid. As he would reel back his fist, it would start to be enveloped by that, muscle fiber, his quirk. As he would reel back, he would punch. Izuku would jump back above Koda, behind Koba, and Koba. That's Koda. He would grab him and book it into the forest, back to the actual main building. Muscular would give chase. As they would run, eventually they would meet Aizawa. Izuku would put his sword in his teeth, like Zoro, grab Aizawa. Aizawa would say, Midoriya, you better start explaining. Well, you see, it, I'm going to do a Zoro moment here. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a guy back there chasing us. He was trying to take out Koda. I saved him. Now we're running. Well, let me fight him. Alright, we better get back to camp. He's coming after us, and it would be way easier to fight him there with everybody else. Could you at least put me down? No. He's holding him like he wrapped his arm around him like a hug, like a side hug. Not a side hug, but a like a hug. Like he wrapped his arm around, kind of like how he does with Koda. And they would make it back to the camp as he would he would let go of Zawazawa. He would start to slide back. He would balance himself. Uh, Izuku would spin around, slide backwards. He would set down Koda and he would say, "Get in there and tell Vlad that we might need help." Okay. As he would run in, he would head to the classroom. As he would hold his sword in one hand, right? Muscular would come charging through with a full grown tree in his hands. As he would then throw it at Aizawa, Izuku would get in the way. He would cut through that thing. Just the two halves would go beside them. Yeah, I don't think so. Then he would run up front. Uh, you know how his fire is red. It's normal fire. He would. How do I explain this? See, it would turn into a a regular flame, like orange and yellow, white at the tip, or like where it's hottest on the blade. As he would bring wind into it and condense oxygen into it, it would get hotter and hotter and just erupt in a blue, well, not blue, but there would be blue sparking in it, but a dark, deep red flame. Like there would be blue spots in there, kind of like how Dobby's quirk, like how the blue flame actually activated, like when he first started to use it. Okay, so his blade would turn into this red deep flame, at least for like the blade part. You could smell this. It would, as he would slice, he would say, "Flare slicer, Ignis." Wait, no, no, never mind. Hold on. Let me change that name. Uh, Flare slicer, blue. No, you know what? Screw it. It turns into a blue flame just by how hot it is, and even from the people in the actual building could feel the heat. Like everyone could feel this heat. Well, in this general area, right? But not really. Like the people inside could not. The people inside the classroom couldn't feel it, but Vlad could because he would be running out the door. He would be out the door by this point. Seeing Izuku's sword erupt in a blue flame, he would and hear Izuku say, wait, no, Flare Slicer, blue, 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 blue something. Blue something. Imagine I just call it Blue Arrow because Avatar. You get my point? But no. Ah, you know what? Let's go with this. Flare Slicer, Blue Star. As the Muscular would bring up his arms, like he would be massive. Like he would be covered in this muscle fiber, just covered head to toe. But he would bring his arms up and max it out, like as the sword, well, the flames, well, the sword, well, what's left, well, the flames on the sword would connect to him. They would sear. You could hear the searing noise. You could hear Muscular's yells of agony. Just you could like a fresh hot pan burning like a steak, like searing a steak. Just the you know what I'm saying? You could hear it, and then once it would be how it would be nearly at his arms, like at Muscular's arms. He would, hmm, he would max out. It'd probably be like a couple feet wide, like 5 feet, like in like depth before hitting the arm. His where he got it mid forearm and up would be turned into ash, or below. Well, like hand to mid forearm would be turned to ash. As then Muscular would be wide eyed, like as then he would pass out because of the pain. And then after Izuku would just let it go, the wooden training sword would be burnt to ash in his hand. And once you would look at his hand, covered in a purple scar or in a burn, a third degree burn, like Dobby's, okay. Like his entire hand, like minus like the top of the fingers, but kind of like Dobby's hand, okay, would be like this. Okay, yep, I did it, I did it. My flames were hot. You all see that? My hand is searing. Like he would put his hand up to his ear, and then the adrenaline would wear off by this point, and he could hear his hand just bubbling and sizzling, and then he would smell it. Oh, that's that. I feel like I burnt myself quite a bit. So hmm. And like some of his wrist, about a quarter off of like a quarter of the forearm from the wrist. Not a quarter, but like a fifth. But barely any of the room would be. How much would that be, forearm wise? Like, say if it's how long? That's probably like I don't know. Crap. I'm trying to think how much of the forearm would have been burnt. That would probably be a third. A third of his forearm would be burnt in the same color as Dobby's burns, and then Izuku will need a graph to fix it. He would then say, "It hurts so bad, but I guarantee there's more. That wound's definitely cauterized." Then his left hand would be just frozen, and then he would just slowly grab his burn, and then his ice would be burnt. He would just continually make ice to cool off his arm, like the burns. That sucked, but it worked. He would then turn around to see Aizawa and Vlad King fighting Dobby. No, I'm joking. But seeing them stare at him the way they are, Aizawa would run up to him and say, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, minus the burn, but and maybe the lack of eyebrows." Then he would feel where his eyebrows are. Oh, never mind. The eyebrows are fine. But my arm is it's fine for now. I gotta go check on the rest of the class. No, you're not. You are hurt. I'm still going. I didn't listen to Vlad. I like. Sorry, the kid was gone. I knew he wasn't in the building, so found him. Wait a second. Then, out of his peripheral vision, he was able to see a light, a blue flame, just wheeling toward them. As he would then push Aizawa behind him, as he would then use his ice like side, and then he would say, he wouldn't say anything. He would just a mass amount of ice would collide, like a wall of ice would collide with the flame. The flame would be depleted and then burnt through. And then you could hear Dobby say, "Well, I see someone liked the way I worked." "Man, I could sue you for copyright." "I don't think you can." "But then you would copyright Azula. Then you would be copyrighted by Azula." "Who?" Nothing." "Dobby." "Hey, you're quite cool. I don't. At least that's what the boss says. Not for me." "What?" "I don't know. Anyways, I'm looking for a couple new friends. You all know. You know what? Nah, I probably shouldn't tell you that because You're gonna be dead in here in 5 seconds. As he would raise his hands, you could see the blue flame ready to erupt, and it wouldn't. It would just quit because of Aizawa. Yeah, I don't think so. And then Izuku, well, from Dobby's point of view, he couldn't use his quirk now. And then the kid with the, well, that he's gonna sue for using his quirk is gone. And then he heard someone say, Silver Hammer! Silver! Silver Blade? Is it Hammer? I forget. Yeah, it is. It is Hammer. Um, uh, Hard. No. You want to squirt? Hard. Blow. No, that's dumb. No, that also sounds wrong. Uh, Tunskin? No. That's, I don't even know how to say that. Silverstone. That also sounds dumb. Oh god. What he would say the name as he would then bring his elbow, forearm, fist into the back of Dobby's head. And then the head would just slosh, turn into mud. It was a clone. Right. What? It was a clone. See the mud as he would reach his hand down and it would be like a mud like texture. See? They're out there somewhere. Shit. You know what, I'm gonna call it Silver Blade. Silver. Wait. No, no, no. It was there was a weapon. Uh, Silver Tonfa. Sure. Let's go with that. Okay. Then Vlad would stay there as I saw. Well, they would keep on trying to tell Izuku to stay there, but he's not okay with it. He's going. He would get eyes in the sky, and he would see a massive dark shadow. Um, as Aizawa would go, Vlad would stay there with the kids in there. Okay. Aizawa would go to Mandalay and Tiger as Izuku would go to Dark Shadow, the massive Dark Shadow. That yeah. Eventually, he would make it there. He would his hand would erupt in flame. Just a massive wave of flame would be shot down at Dark Shadow, weakening him enough to where Tokoyami could get back into control. Moonfish is already taken out, and then Izuku would dive back down to where Tokoyami and Dark Shadow, well, Tokoyami is. Diving down, he would say, "Hey, Tokoyami, Dark Shadow, Skyrim, Emo, My Chemical Romance." I don't know. No, he wouldn't say that. He would wake up and say, what happened? I don't know. Dark Shadow was real big and whatever. Wait, where's everybody else? Who? Um, there was Todoroki and Bakugo and Shoji. Uh, we're right here. They would be right behind him or forward up the path, just walking back, or, well, running back. Bakugo would say, Izuku, cat, I told you to stop using that name. What, is it better than Kachan? What, would you rather let me use Kachan? No, use cat. Okay, but what are you doing here? How did you get here? Oh, air, dude. I can fly, kinda. I can step in the air and then boom, boom. Okay. What happened to your hand, Midoriya? Todoroki would say. Oh, I figured out a way I could boost my flame's heat with my air and fire. Well, you see, I condense oxygen in a tight packed around my hand or around my blade, but which that would also contain to my hand because I'm touching. You get my point. But then it would erupt in blue flame, kind of like that Dobby guy that we don't know of yet. But you know how blah 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 blah. He would explain it. He condensed oxygen in the flame to where it would heat up, and then he would uncondense it, let it flow out as the flame would eat it up and get higher in heat. Okay. Oh, okay. Do you know where the others are? No, we don't. Shit. Who? What happened here? And then Shoji would talk and say, there was a villain here, um, trying to fight, or something. He would explain it, okay? Is there any, as Suyu and Ochako would run past them and then turn around and say, "Run!" Uh, I well, they would stop as soon as they saw them, and we. Oh, hey, friends! Wow, how are you all? Suyu, Ochako. Ooh, I want to be friends. And the way I make friends, you already know. But let me see you bleed. As she would dive down with blade in hand, trying to slice Suyu. Suyu would dodge, right? And Izuku would say, actually, no, no, no. Izuku would get in front with his body going full on like Tetsu Tetsu, just full on metal, man. Just as the blade would well, make contact, it would snap, it would break, and Izuku would say, "My shirt." Eh, who the hell are you? Oh, I'm Himiko Toga. Hi. Do you want to be friends? Rather not. As he would begin to fight this lady. Bro would be saying, "My hands are rated E for everyone, dog." Just whack, bop, 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 boom, bop, bam, bro. Just he would be swinging, kicking, slashing. He would bring his silver slicer out, silver sword. Well, silver slicer, silver for sword out. Okay, his hand. He would flatten his hand as it would connect, go through. Right, he would begin to slice as his body would still be full of. Well, his entire body would be metal. like Tetsu Tetsu. Tetsu 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 Tetsu. We all know who Tetsu Tetsu is. But, right, that's how it would be. So, yeah, Toga and him would fight. Then Toga would say, "You're no fun! Get out of my way!" As a portal would open in front of her, and she would go through unintentionally. And then another portal would open up. A man would jump out, throwing two marbles at Bakugo and Fumikage. Or, I meant to say Tokuyami. And then he would hop out, and then he would start booking it. He hoped he got the right ones. He's not sure, so he's gonna start booking it down the path into a field. This being Mr. Compress. Okay. They would all follow. Izuku, well, the faster ones being in front. Right. Izuku would let down the silver body, what he calls it, as he would then use the air, well, air kicks. He would put air on his feet and he would kick, like Geppo from One Piece, or Moonwalk, or Arrow, whatever it is. But yeah, you get my point. Geppo, he would be able to step in the air, making him go faster. Just, boom! He would be in, not front place. Well, he would be there. It's not a race. But yeah, eventually they would catch up. They would be in a field, right? Like it is in canon. Shoto would use the massive wave of ice, blah, 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 blah. It would, in doubt, very similar. It would be revealed that they still have Bakugo. But what would happen is Izuku would go running towards them quickly. Quicker than people would come out of the portal. People would come out, okay. Dabi would send the Nomu after Izuku to catch him. Well, not catch him, but collide with him. Izuku would use Silver Order! He would jump in the air and he would say, Silver Order! Silver Excalibur! He would clap his hands together above his head. As they would come together, a gigantic silver sword, like shining sword, would appear over his head. Just massive, just huge. Okay? Then, as he would slice down, the Nomu would be cut in half. And there would be a crater from where the sword is. And then he would slice again at Dabi. But Dabi would bring Bakugo out and grab him by the head. Izuku wouldn't stop. He would just turn it from the blade end to the flat end, and it would slap Bakugo, sending him flying away and also hitting Dabi. Izuku isn't done. He would pick up the massive sword with his hands, not hands, but like it would be his hands. So he is just swinging around his both hands together. But yet he would be fighting everyone, bro. Bakugo would be back. He would be firing. Eventually, Dabi would just catch the blade and melt it. Just it would burn Izuku's hands again. Like the hot metal would begin to burn him as he would then he would just let it go. His hands red as he would then say, "Want to fight? I'm gonna fight." He would say in his head, "Don't they say the best way to fight fire is with fire?" As his right hand, would be erupt in flame, as it would erupt in a brighter, not brighter, a deeper color of red. right? Not a blue collar. He's learned his lesson, but yet he would he would be like a deep crimson, like maroon color. As he would then raise up his hand, flare, flash, flare, flash, uh, crimson, crimson collar. Okay, but as it would, a massive wave of this dark flame would erupt, just just firing at Dobby. Dobby's flames would connect with it, and they would fight over power. But during that time, it would give Mr. Compress enough time to do something. Izuku didn't notice this, but before he knew it, he would be captured. And even before the villains knew it, he would break out. Like I know I said, I think it's probably indestructible, right? It doesn't say it can't be burnt through, but they would already been through the portal. They would have took Izuku Midoriya. But Izuku, by the time they would enter that building, it would erupt in flame. Not the building, but the gem where the marble would begin to start to burn Mr. Compress. Like a pot. It would burn a hole in his pocket. It would fall to the ground, and it would start to burn the floor. Dobby would pick it up, and he would say, "Man, this kid really wants out." And then he would feel it going hotter in air, like hotter and hotter, as he would then throw it up in the air, and it would crack, and it would explode as Izuku would drop down to the ground in like a superhero landing. As he would stand up, he would say, "Really? You all are a bunch of kidnappers now? I thought you were villains, not thugs. Aren't you handjob? Hey, I will decay. You will not leave this bar alive." Wait, we're in a bar? What? You don't? Yeah, no duh, this is what the counter is for. Get him in the thing. I'm not going in that thing. Well, you are. I am not. I will burn this place to the ground with you all in it. The only guy who can survive is that guy. Yeah, I'm the only one that really good. The rest of these losers would burn. Besides that purple guy. Yeah, what is his problem? We don't know, honestly. I know. No, I don't. I do. No, I don't. Can I also ask what his problem is? Honestly, we don't know either. He's just kind of twice. Isn't that a band? What? Twice? Isn't that a band? Like a K-pop band? I believe so. I don't know. I don't keep up with music. My ears kind of hurt when I put an earbud in. So, oh, that makes sense. He would then collapse. His mouth would begin to foam, and he would collapse to the ground. So they would lock him up in the chair, and by the time he would awake, it would be broken into by heroes. Well, before, it would be a minute or two before that. He would come to and say, "What? Why is it? What? It's hard to breathe." Oh. And then he would try to move his arms, but he couldn't because they're locked up. What? Well, looky here. Look who is awake! The person who took my quirk. The whole entire reason I'm special is Blue Flame. How can you use it anyways? What? Where? Oh yeah. Well, you know how my quirk works. No, I don't. Well, I can use fire, like you apparently, and with my wind quirk, well, not wind quirk, but the wind part of my quirk, I condensed oxygen in the middle of the flame and let it arise from the middle. The flame would heat up rapidly from this because the oxygen I contain absorb condensed into a ball because of my wind quirk I can do that. And so what would happen is as it would go the heat would arise and then it would change colors. It's kind of how that works. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I'm just making stuff up. I know a little bit of flame and how it kind of works because you need oxygen to keep the thing alive, and that it heats up because of oxygen and whatever. Anyways, and Blue Star, Flare Slicer, Blue Star. Would I use swords? Is that a problem? No, it's kind of cool, honestly. Uh, Swords are cool. You're not wrong. And then pizza. What? Aww. Did you all order me pizza? No! We never ordered pizza to begin with. Haha! I am here! And then the heroes would arrive. Tommy Woods would use his arbor whatever it is. He would lock him up with his quirk, with his wood quirk, whatever it is. But yet, using his wood quirk type, whatever it is, he would use his move to capture him, right? As Gran Torino and others would knock him out. Eventually, Offer one would arrive, and well, by this point, someone already got Izuku out of the chair. They unlocked him. He would have to been carried because he he couldn't walk because he's so weak at the moment. Like he's hungry from the times he's used his fire quirk and low calcium and iron. It does stuff to your body. Okay, at least from what my understanding is, it does stuff. I don't. And plus gravity. He was training with it for a while, and that same day, he was training gravity a lot, so he's quite weak. So he would have been carried out by someone. I forget who was at the raid to begin with. I forget. But yeah, he would have been saved, and that's where I'm gonna end it today. I hope you all had enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, morning, night ahead of you. I hope you have a great whenever you're watching this. I hope you have a great time. Um, yeah, I hope to see you all next time. It's been me, Wait Anime, and I hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice. Follow me on socials. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this to your friends if they like anime or what ifs. Well, anime what ifs. Or My Hero. Or whatever else. I don't know. And I hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice.